Centel arrived later that evening carrying water and some meat from an antelope he and his friends had killed and divided among themselves. He found his livestock wandering around in the compound. They had not been milked. Joki had never failed to milk the cows or put them in the shed, so he was surprised to find them abandoned. The cows were not producing much, but at least what they produced was enough for the three of them. Was she sick? Centel asked himself as he moved briskly towards the hut. Had something happened to her or the baby? He walked swiftly in the direction of their hut. The minute he entered it, he called out to Njoki. She did not answer. She was not there. The hut was as clean as usual. The bed was made and the fireplace cleared of extra ash. Something nagged at Centel as he set his goods down. Something was not right, but his urgency to find Njoki made him ignore the feeling. He placed the jerry can of water on the floor and the meat on a stool next to the hearth and left the hut and headed towards Taina's. He hoped to find Njoki there and safe. Maybe she had needed company and time had passed so quickly she had yet to realize how late it was. Centel mused. Tiana was busy preparing supper when Centel walked in. She quickly stood up, surprised by his presence. "What can I do for you?" she asked. She realized that Centel was not looking at her. He was scanning her heart as if he was looking for something or someone. He looked agitated and unsettled. Something was disturbing him. "Simel has just gone out," she said, thinking that he was looking for her husband. "Where is my wife?" he asked, his eyes finally resting on Tiana. He had not heard her, and Tiana was surprised that he was looking for Njoki. "I left her to nap sometime in the afternoon, and I have not seen her since then," she answered. "Is she not at your hut?" "No," he answered with so much fury that Tiana took a step back. Tiana wondered where Njoki could be. She could not be considered very social, and she did not visit much. She looked up at Centel. Centel could not picture Njoki anywhere else but here or at his hut. She did not go anywhere. Had she left? "Did she tell you anything?" he asked, massaging the nape of his neck. Tiana shook her head and said, "No." The minute Centel thought of Njoki having left him, he felt tired and defeated. "She was distracted this afternoon, but I thought it was the pregnancy." "Have you asked your mother? Maybe she's there." The minute Centel heard that, hope returned. "I'll go look. Thank you." "Where are you, Njoki?" Tiana asked herself as she watched Centel's retreating figure. Centel was optimistic that he would find Njoki with his mother. For a few seconds, he thought there was no way she could leave him. She loved him, and they were going to get through this trial together, and they would both bring up their child together here. But a sliver of doubt still lingered in his mind. "Mother!" he called as he entered her hut. Toponi was seated on her bed with her back against the wall. She looked frail and weak, but she was a determined woman, and Centel knew that she would make it through this. He could see that Njoki was not in the hut. He did not want his fears confirmed, but he needed to ask the question. "Have you seen Njoki?" Toponi could hear the anxiety in his voice. He sounded defeated and tired. Toponi's worst fears had come to pass. Njoki had left. That she was sure of. She had never been one of them, even at the time of her marriage to Centel. Toponi had known that. She had suspected that one day Njoki would leave, but never had she imagined it would be so soon. She looked up at her son. He looked distraught, and she knew the minute he was sure Njoki was gone, all hell would break loose. "No, my son, she's not here." Centel groaned deeply, and Toponi felt tears threaten to fall for her son's pain. He covered his face with his hands and squatted, his back to the wall opposite his mother. "Don't look for her. She has never been one of us. Yes, you married her, but she had a life before you that was more comfortable and modern. She's too independent to patiently wait for things to improve here. I know you love her, but she has made up her mind to leave. It will not be easy to convince her to return." Toponi advised Centel as he sat listening to her silently and holding his head in his hands. After she had spoken, he raised his head and spoke in a raspy voice. Then why did she marry me, mother? Why? Love, my child. Love. Centel did not wait for his mother to add more. He left her hut and ran to his. He was hoping to find her clothing, her bag, and her reports. When his mother had spoken the word love, he remembered that Njoki would never have left without her research. He entered his hut and quickly lit a stump. He looked everywhere in the hut. He even checked under the bed, but he could see nothing that belonged to her. Her bag was not around, and neither was her research material. In anger, Centel tossed the bed and dented the wall. How could she do this to him? He asked himself. Then he screamed, Njoki! With so much agony that the villagers came running thinking that she was dead. Miles away on top of a tree, Njoki woke up and shivered. She thought someone had called her name, but she saw no one. It must have been a dream, she thought as she curled up and went back to sleep. Lekeni was among the first to arrive and he found Centel armed and walking out of the compound. Centel, he called out. Centel, he called out again. Centel ignored him as if he was invisible. Lekeni grabbed Centel's upper arm. His wife had told him that Centel had been looking for Njoki. Where are you going? To look for my wife, he answered angrily, trying to dislodge his arm from Lekeni's grip. But Lekeni was not letting him go that easily. It's too dangerous, Centel. Be realistic. You won't even be able to see her footprint in this darkness. Wait till day breaks and I will help you look for her. The rest of the villagers were briefing each other about the turn of events. No one had seen her leave and she was not in any of other villagers' homes. Some of the villagers decided to go back to their huts. Centel was a wise man. He would not go out at night to look for his wife. If the villagers were needed to look for her later, they would heed his call. One by one, they retreated to their homes. Centel was left with Lekeni. He knew he would be risking death if he left the safety of the village alone at this hour of the night, especially when they were facing severe drought. He therefore gave up the idea as he was too weary to carry on the search for her immediately. He kept thinking she had betrayed his trust again by running away without informing him. What if she kills Lekeni? I can't live with the thought that my wife died running away from the life that I was providing for her. How could she not tell me she was unhappy? Centel asked without looking up at his friend. Centel did not want to think that his wife was dead, but it was a possibility he could not deny. He felt his body grow cold and numb. Lekeni had no answer to give his friend, so he chose to keep quiet. The two men walked together to Centel's hut. Lekeni steadied the bed and watched Centel place himself on it. He looked like a man who had lost everything, and maybe he had. Lekeni made sure to carry all of Centel's weapons with him as he left him to sleep. Centel lay on the bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. After a while, he noticed the cracks that were on the roof of the hut. He counted them all and made a note in his mind to fill them soon. It had never occurred to him that Njoki would ever leave him, especially now that she was married to him and carrying his child. She knew of their culture. She was still married to him no matter how many miles separated them. There was nothing like divorce. If she decided that she would have children with another man, he had a right to claim them as his. He could not bear the thought of another man having her. He listened to the sounds of the night. It was mysteriously quiet, as if the night recognized his sultry mood and did not want to disturb him. He listened for a long time, and then he heard the laughter of the hyena and felt the irony of life. With time, sleep drowned him from his present sorry state to a world where at least he could find some peace. Early the next morning, Lekeni went to Centel's hut. He was seated next to the hearth stoking the fire. He looked prepared, but he did not acknowledge Lekeni when he walked in. They left the hut and headed to Toponi's hut so that she could bless them as they journeyed. She disagreed with Centel's decision, but he had made up his mind, and all she could do was support him. Centel had made a vow to himself. He would find her, whether dead or alive. He would find her no matter how long it took him. He had looked around the hut, and he had found Njoki's work hut, which was enough for now. He had to rely on his tracking skills from here on.